The speed at which the business world evolves these days, it can feel breathtaking, really.
It really can.
One minute you think you're ahead, the next you're just trying to keep up.
Hmm.
It feels like a constant race,
Yeah.
to stay relevant. Sort of like always trying to level up your skills just to keep pace.
Absolutely. And that relentless change, that churn.
Well, that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive into market research today.
Right.
It's not just some side activity anymore. It's really fundamental. It's the bedrock for making smart decisions in this landscape that just keeps shifting.
Okay, so our mission today then is to unpack why getting a really solid understanding of your customers, your industry, and yeah, your competitors, why that's not just like helpful, but essential.
Fundamental, exactly.
Yeah.
For any business that wants to stick around long term.
We want to show you how market research can be that strategic compass, guiding you toward the smart choices, helping you sidestep those potential traps,
Big ones sometimes.
and ultimately, yeah, paving the way for success that lasts. And the thing is, businesses today have access to just an incredible range of resources for this. So many ways to get this information.
True.
So what we'll do is synthesize some of the most critical insights, really highlight why market research is just so vital now.
Okay, and just to set the stage, think about this number. In 2024, the global market research industry, it's valued at a massive $140 billion.
Wow, that's huge.
Isn't it? But what's really interesting is where the growth is happening. Online and mobile research. That makes up about 35% of all global revenue now.
Makes sense given how we live.
And get this, almost half of all researchers, something like 47%, are regularly using artificial intelligence, AI, in their work.
Yeah, that's a big shift. It shows how integral and how technologically advanced the field's become. It's not just surveys anymore.
Definitely not. Okay, so let's really dig in then. Why is market research so absolutely critical in today's business environment? What's the core reason?
Well, let's circle back to your first point about that rapid pace of change. Market research is what lets businesses not just react when things shift, but actually anticipate those shifts.
Okay, anticipate. How?
Think of it like getting a full 360-degree view of your target audience. You start understanding their preferences as they evolved, the real reasons behind their choices, all the different things influencing them.
So it's deeper than just demographics.
Oh, much deeper. The more detailed your understanding, through solid research, the better positioned you are to create products, create services that genuinely connect, that people actually want.
So it's really about moving beyond just gut feelings.
Right.
And basing your strategy on something solid.
Exactly. Because without that homework, without that due diligence, you're basically just working off assumptions.
Which can be dangerous.
Very. And as we've seen time and again, those assumptions can lead to, well, significant financial setbacks, especially when you're launching something new or going into a new market or even just tweaking your marketing.
Big risks.
Huge risks. The data-driven insights you get from good market research, they act as a really powerful way to reduce that risk.
How so?
By properly analyzing market data, companies can make those strategic decisions with much more confidence. And importantly, they can steer clear of a lot of problems you could actually see coming if you looked.
Okay, that makes sense. And we can't forget, you're not operating in a vacuum, right? There are other players out there.
Precisely. You absolutely have to have a deep understanding of your competitive environment. It's indispensable.
So what does research tell you there?
Market research gives businesses the tools to watch what competitors are doing, sure, but maybe even more importantly, to spot potential gaps. Openings in the market that you can strategically use to get a real competitive edge.
Finding the weaknesses or the overlooked spots.
Exactly. And that allows your organization to be nimble, to adjust your strategies when the market moves, and really foster that culture of constant innovation. Keep improving.
So, okay, putting it simply then, market research isn't just a nice to have. It's really the foundation for staying relevant, for managing risks effectively, and building that solid base for success over the long haul.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's the core message.
All right, now let's shift focus a bit, something that's always top of mind for businesses. How do you actually spot those crucial market trends, both the current ones and the ones coming down the pike? And why is that so vital for staying competitive?
Well, the sources we looked at really hammered this home. Proactively identifying trends, both what's happening now and what's emerging, it has a huge impact on whether a business survives and stays relevant.
Survival even, wow.
Yeah, because as we've said, customer preferences, the whole market landscape, it's always moving. So if you're diligently tracking these trends, You get that foresight. You can anticipate shifts in what customers want.
So it's about looking ahead, right? Not just driving by looking in the rearview mirror what already happened.
Precisely. You need that forward-looking perspective. And by anticipating these market changes, businesses can really secure and then maintain a significant competitive edge.
Can you give an example, maybe?
Think about the companies that consistently lead their industries. Often, they're the ones who saw an emerging trend early on. They spotted it, they adapted their strategies.
While others were still catching up.
Exactly, instead of scrambling later when it's maybe too late.
That makes perfect sense. It's like spotting the wave coming and positioning yourself to ride it instead of getting wiped out because you weren't looking.
That's a great analogy. And it's not just about avoiding being left behind either. It's also about actively looking for new ways to grow.
Okay, so finding opportunities too.
Exactly right. A sharp understanding of future trends can open up totally new vistas, you could say, for business expansion.
Like what?
Well, this could mean strategically adopting some new technology before everyone else does, or successfully moving into customer segments you hadn't reached before, or maybe developing genuinely innovative new products.
But you have to see it coming.
Right. As our sources point out, these really valuable opportunities, they're most available to businesses that are proactive, the ones anticipating trends and then strategically lining up their operations to actually capitalize on them.
Got it. So it's that proactive strategic thinking that lets you grab opportunities before they become, obvious to everyone.
Pretty much.
And I guess having your finger on the pulse of these trends, that also helps you avoid some potentially expensive mistakes.
Absolutely. Definitely. Carefully identifying market trends plays a huge role in mitigating risk. It helps businesses avoid making big investments in, say, strategies or product lines that are probably going to become obsolete pretty soon.
Avoiding the duds.
Right. By understanding which way the market's generally heading, companies can put their resources, time, money, people into areas with the best potential for long-term success, where they're likely to see a real accomplishment.
Okay, so we've established the fundamental importance, the critical role of spotting trends. Now let's get really practical. Launching new products or services, that's always risky. How specifically can market research really cut down the risk involved in those launches?
Yeah, this is where you really see the practical power of market research shine. It gives you incredibly detailed insights into what your potential customers really want, their desires, their actual needs, sometimes even wants they haven't articulated yet.
Okay, the deep stuff.
Exactly. And that level of understanding is just invaluable when you're developing a product. It hugely increases the chances you create something that people will actually welcome because it directly addresses those needs you uncovered.
So you're not just guessing what people might like.
No more guesswork. You're replacing those internal assumptions with solid, data-driven conclusions. That leads to products that are much more likely to resonate, connect with your target market, and, well, dramatically cut the odds of a costly failure.
That makes complete sense. It's about making sure you're building something people genuinely want, something they'll actually pay for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd imagine knowing the competitive landscape also plays a big role in de-risking new launches.
Oh, absolutely. Comprehensive market research gives you that critical understanding of who's already out there and what they're doing.
How does that help specifically?
By thoroughly analyzing your competitors' strengths, what they do well, and also their weaknesses, you can spot those underserved niches. Find opportunities to really differentiate your new product or service in a meaningful way.
They'll find the gap.
Find the gap. This strategic insight lets you carefully position your offering so you're not going head-to-head in an already crowded space, which, again, boosts your probability of a successful launch.
So it's not just understanding your customers, but also understanding where your competitors might be falling short in meeting those customer needs. That's a powerful combo.
It really is.
And what about actually getting feedback from potential users before you go all in with a full launch?
Another absolutely crucial benefit. Market research makes it easy to do rigorous concept testing.
Like surveys and focus groups.
Exactly. Well-designed surveys, in-depth focus groups, even carefully controlled pilot programs. Getting that early feedback directly from potential customers gives you invaluable insights. Just gold.
Why is it so valuable?
Because it lets you make adjustments, make refinements to your product or service before you commit to that big, full-scale market introduction.
Saving you from big mistakes later.
Potentially huge, expensive errors down the line. It's kind of like getting an early preview of how your product will land, and you get the chance to make it even better based on real feedback from the people you hope will buy it.
Okay, so Market research isn't just about collecting data points. It's really about strategically using that data to build better products and proactively avoid those costly mistakes.
You got it.
Now, let's widen the lens a little. How does all this research ultimately help make better, more informed decisions for the entire business?
Well, at its core, market research provides that foundation of evidence-based arguments. It replaces the uncertainty of, guesswork,
Flying blind.
flying blind, with the clarity of actual facts you can verify. It builds a really comprehensive picture of what the market looks like right now. It pulls together critical info on competitors, customer behavior, industry trends,
The whole picture.
the whole picture. So when business decisions get made based on that holistic, well-supported view, instead of just intuition or maybe flawed assumptions, well, the likelihood of getting positive results goes way up.
It's like navigating with a detailed, accurate map instead of just, hoping you're heading vaguely in the right direction.
Perfect analogy.
And I know we've touched on this, but the better a business knows its customers, the better its strategic decisions overall, right?
Absolutely. The deeper, the more nuanced your understanding of your target audience's preferences, what really clicks with them, what turns them off, what motivates them to buy, the more effective your strategic decision-making will be across the board.
In what areas specifically?
Oh, everything. From the initial design and development of products, setting the right prices, creating marketing campaigns that actually hit the mark.
Yeah.
And, like we talked about with new products, that deep customer understanding is also key to avoiding investing in concepts that just aren't going to connect with the people you're trying to reach.
Right. So it's not just about dodging the downsides. It's about actively charting the best path forward.
Exactly. Proactively charting the most promising course.
And businesses are always trying to look ahead, look towards the horizon. How does market research help with that longer-term strategic vision?
Market research provides that crucial future-looking perspective. It shines a light on potential opportunities coming up, but also identifies potential roadblocks you might need to navigate around.
So for big decisions like entering new markets.
Definitely. Whether you're thinking about entering a totally new market, launching a whole new product category, or even just expanding your current operations, rigorous research is indispensable. You need it to really understand the potential risks and the potential rewards.
So decision makers can weigh the options better.
Yes. This comprehensive understanding empowers them to evaluate strategic options with much greater confidence and ultimately pick the strategies that line up best with their big long-term goals.
Okay, so it's that mix of informed risk assessment and proactive strategic planning for what's next.
That's it.
Now, one area that always needs attention is the competition. How can market research be used specifically to really evaluate competitors and what they're offering?
Well, doing thorough market research on your competitors, looking at their strengths, their weaknesses, it's an incredibly valuable exercise. It helps you spot opportunities to differentiate your own offerings and make strategic improvements.
How so?
By getting a clear picture of what your competitors do really well and maybe where they're falling short, you can strategically pinpoint areas where your business can actually outperform them. Find your unique space in the market.
And so it's about finding your unique advantage by seeing where the competition might be maybe vulnerable or not quite meeting customer needs.
Exactly that. Identify where they might be vulnerable. Market research also lets you do a deep dive into their strategies.
Like their pricing.
Their pricing structures, yeah. The specific features and benefits they push in their products, even things like their customer satisfaction levels, if you can get data on that.
What does that kind of analysis reveal?
Well, this detailed competitive analysis can show you specific areas where the competition might be lacking, maybe they're not innovating, or they're just failing to meet certain customer expectations. And that presents clear, actionable opportunities for your business to step up, enhance your own value, or directly address those unmet needs.
Okay, so it's like getting a peek behind the curtain at your competitors' operations to see where they might be leaving gaps that you can potentially fill.
A valuable peek, yes.
And I imagine this isn't something you do just once. It needs to be ongoing, right?
Oh, that's absolutely correct. Good market research involves continuously monitoring the competitive landscape. It's not a one-and-done project.
What are you tracking?
You track emerging industry trends, you watch for shifts in market share among the players, you keep an eye out for new companies entering the market.
So you're never caught off guard.
Well, you try not to be. This ongoing intelligence gathering lets organizations proactively anticipate potential competitive threats, and then they can implement timely, appropriate responses.
Like changing prices or adding features.
Could be adjusting pricing, enhancing product features, launching new marketing campaigns, whatever makes sense based on what you're seeing.
So it's about staying agile, staying responsive in a competitive world that's always changing.
That's the goal, maintaining agility.
And ultimately, all this understanding of the competition helps you build a stronger overall business strategy.
Precisely. By really understanding what your competitors are doing, how they act towards customers, how they react to the market, you can formulate much more effective, strategically sound business plans yourself.
It gives you the bigger picture.
Right. Market research provides that essential, comprehensive view of the whole competitive environment. It empowers you to make proactive, timely decisions that can really give you a significant, sustainable edge over time.
Okay, fantastic. We've covered understanding customers, spotting trends, evaluating competition, making smarter decisions. Now let's dive into another very practical application. How can market research specifically help improve a company's marketing strategies? Make them more effective?
Marketing. Yeah. Well-designed market research studies give you absolutely essential, often nuanced information about how your customers actually think.
What they think.
Yeah, what their specific preferences are for products or services, their overall feelings, their sentiments towards the market in general. Getting that deep level of understanding is fundamental if you want to develop and significantly improve your marketing strategies.
Why is that so fundamental?
Well, if you have a clear, accurate understanding of what truly motivates your target audience, you can then create marketing campaigns that are just far more likely to actually work, to capture their attention, drive engagement.
So it's about tapping into the psychology, maybe.
Yeah.
The drivers behind why people buy, and tailoring your messages to hit that.
That's a great way to put it, tapping into those drivers,
Yeah.
exactly. With a solid data-backed grasp of your audience's specific demands, their unmet wants, businesses can develop much more precise, highly targeted marketing campaigns.
More targeted means more effective.
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
That level of specificity means your core message, how you position your product, even the visuals and tone of your ads, they're all much more likely to connect directly with what your potential customers actually need and desire.
And the result?
The tangible result is usually significantly higher engagement with your marketing stuff and ultimately better conversion rates because you're speaking directly to what matters to them.
That makes perfect sense. It's
Yeah.
moving away from that broad, maybe scattergun approach to marketing. And instead focusing on laser-precise messaging that speaks right to your ideal customer.
Precisely.
And okay, you've got the right message, but where do you deliver it? Does research help figure out the best channels to reach people?
Oh, absolutely. Market research plays a huge role here. It helps firms identify the most effective marketing and communication channels for actually reaching their specific target audience.
How does it do that?
By systematically studying where your ideal customers actually spend their time and consume information. Is it specific social media platforms? Do they respond to email? Are they reading certain industry publications? Maybe even traditional TV or radio still works for some audiences.
So you don't waste money advertising in the wrong places.
Exactly. It allows companies to strategically put their limited marketing budget, their resources, onto the specific platforms and methods that are most likely to deliver the best possible return on that investment.
Okay, so it's about being strategic, not just with what you say, but also where you say it. Smart.
Very smart.
And finally, how does market research help a business really nail down and then use what makes them unique? Their unique selling proposition.
Yeah, through well-done research into what truly differentiates your products or services from what competitors offer, you can really fine-tune and strengthen that unique value proposition.
Okay.
These insights let companies clearly define and then communicate their unique selling points, the specific benefits, the advantages they offer that really resonate most strongly with their target audience and make them choose your brand over others.
So you understand why people should choose you.
Precisely. By deeply understanding what makes you stand out in the market, you can then strategically weave those key differentiators into all your marketing strategies to effectively attract the customers you want and, importantly, keep them.
Okay, so wow. Bringing this all together, it seems abundantly clear that market research, it's really not optional anymore, is it? Not a discretionary spend for businesses today.
No, not at all.
It seems absolutely indispensable for understanding customers, adapting to change, mitigating those risks, making informed decisions, evaluating the competition, and yeah, ultimately improving marketing. It touches everything.
It really does. You summarized it perfectly. In today's environment, fast-paced, highly competitive, the need for businesses to stay continuously informed through diligent market research isn't just like advisable.
Right.
It's absolutely non-negotiable for survival and certainly for any kind of long-term success.
Okay, so here's maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given this rapid, relentless pace of change we've been talking about, what's one key assumption that your business is currently operating under? An assumption that maybe rigorous market research could help you either validate with real confidence or, perhaps even more importantly, challenge with some compelling data.
That's a great question.
It's worth taking a moment maybe after this to really reflect on that specific question. Think about how the insights we've explored today could be directly applied to your own unique situation, your own challenges.
A truly pivotal question to ponder indeed.